central commitment of America is an unconditional freedom, precisely of the kind that cannot be bought.
Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was part of what went on at last night's rally at Forest Hill Stadium out in Queens. There were 13,000 people there. It was nearly full, with supporters gathered to hear from Democratic nominee for mayor Zohran Mamdani, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and others. They were joined by Governor Kathy Hochul, by State Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart-Cousins, Senator Bernie Sanders. All of this coming as early voting kicked off on Saturday. The candidates have all been busy on the campaign trail as we hit the final stretch of the race for mayor. Joining me to talk some politics and about his day job as city controller, we've got Brad Lander. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Let's start with the day job. Unemployment rate has edged up to a 4-month high of 4.9%. I'm wondering, because I understand that a lot of the data, at least on the federal side, is not available because of the shutdown.
That's right.
Are these numbers reliable?
Well, there's often adjustments in the coming months, but they track trends. Yes, unemployment has been edging up. There's a lot more volatility and uncertainty in the economy as a result of the tariffs and the shutdown, and employers are holding off.
Yeah, what is the effect on the economy of the government shutdown?
Well, I mean, obviously there's people already starting to feel the pinch in different ways. 7,000 families have had their housing vouchers pulled back. Others are waiting to see, am I going to have my SNAP benefits? We have a meaningful number of federal workers here, and they've been furloughed. I talked to the CEO of one of the big hospitals who said they're anticipating a $100 million cut if the essential plan is hit in January.
Has the city got the kind of reserves or contingency plans in place to handle this?
I mean, most of the things are at the state level. So the question of what's going to happen with SNAP, what's going to happen with WIC are handled at the state level. And New York State is better prepared than most, but no state can weather federal cuts for very long.
You issued a report a few weeks ago about income inequality, taking a step back, looking at it sort of over time. My sense is that it's only gotten worse.
Imagine, right? It's gotten worse. This is a really interesting look, though. I'd urge people to look. We looked at generations, so boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, what's different about their trajectories. And each one is more diverse than the next. Each one has higher average educational attainment and income, but costs like housing have gone up even more. And yeah, unfortunately, income inequality has grown across each successive generation, and more in New York City than around the country.
And I guess to make matters worse, is it safe to say that the cost of living has gone up pretty much continuously from generation to generation?
And more than educational attainment or income.
Okay, let's talk some politics. The rally last night, what did you make of it?
I mean, there was so much energy. People are hungry for that affordability agenda. They're hungry for a diverse, welcoming city. They're inspired by Zohran and this movement, and they're going out to the polls in droves as a result.
There's a moment that a lot of people focused on when Governor Hochul took the stage, and there was a chant of "tax the rich." It wasn't necessarily that they were booing her. And in fact, what she said was, "I hear you," which was not a yes or a no.
Look, I think it was great she was there. The different wings of the Democratic Party have to find ways to work together. Credit to her for endorsing Zohran, even though they don't agree on everything. Credit to her for coming. She knew where she was coming. And yes, people want this agenda. We can't get to universal child care without more revenue.
What's your sense on the street of what's going to happen when the votes are counted?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zohran's going to win big. There's just so much energy, so many people out knocking doors. No one's out knocking doors for Andrew Cuomo. And the numbers, early voting numbers, are up 500% from 4 years ago. The biggest increase in Brooklyn, which drove Zohran's win in the primary.
In your neck of the woods, early voting, I mean, this is really only the second mayoral election that we've had.
Yeah.
So there's no real base to go on, right? I mean, but what's your sense of
who
those people are and why they're voting early?
Yeah, and let's credit the other ZMs. Elnor Myrie is the reason we have the early voting, so I want to give him some props. But I mean, in my neck of the woods, more people are going out. They do sure seem like the kind of people who came out, in the primary. So yes, I think look, it's good for democracy that we can do more early voting and that more people are voting, and I think it bodes well for Zohran.
Okay. You have some news to report about one of the cases that you've been following. You've been trying to go down to 26 Federal Plaza from time to time and intervene in cases where people are in trouble. We just got some news about one of the young people. Tell us about that.
Yeah, his name is Joel Kama. So I'm going every week. And last Thursday, I accompanied this 16-year-old high school student from Gotham Collaborative High School in the Bronx. Such a sweet kid, so eager to get back to class, but he was detained by ICE. He's here by himself, a 16-year-old. But the good news is that the judge just issued a temporary restraining order, so ICE can't remove him from the country, and his lawyer is going to keep fighting to get him out so he can get back to class.
Where's he from, and where were they going to deport him?
He's from Ecuador, and Ecuador is where they would probably deport him back.
Okay. City and State says that you are planning to challenge Dan Goldman. And there's a poll that suggests that you could do so, that you would beat him by 19 points in a hypothetical one-on-one matchup. What can you tell us about?
Well, through next Tuesday, what I'm focused on is helping Zohran win, and I'll focus on what's next after that. But look, he's going to need a big team. He's going to build a great team at City Hall and city agencies, and then he needs partners in Albany and absolutely in Washington who see the importance of this moment and will roll up their sleeves to work with him.
In general, do you think the New York delegation to Congress is not progressive enough?
Look, I think this is an urgent moment in our country's future, and everybody's got to show up in the ways that they can. That's why I think it was great that Governor Hochul showed up last night, and it is why I think at every level we need people who are going to stand up and fight Trump, deliver that affordability agenda, and remember what it means to wake up every day in the city with that copper-plated statue in the harbor, reminding us who we are. So let's go get on the field.
What does it say about the Democratic Party that I believe the Queen's organization has still not made an endorsement at this late?
I mean, I have to say, all these Democratic leaders who haven't endorsed the Democratic nominee for mayor, this is how we do things. We have primaries. We go fight in them. I ran in that primary. A candidate wins, and Democrats should go support them. And sometimes that means it's a candidate more moderate than you would have chosen out in the suburbs, maybe. Sometimes it's a bold progressive with a vision for affordability that people are excited about. And yes, Democratic leaders and Democratic county organizations ought to be on the field supporting him.
Why is this different this time?
I mean, I guess there's a perception there that because he's a Democratic socialist, I don't really know, maybe because he's Muslim. But what I would say is if you were there last night, you saw Jews and Muslims and LGBTQ folks and blacks and Latinos and progressives and plenty of moderates too, recognizing this is an inspiring moment and we should all be there together.
Something that's relatively new. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that sort of AI-generated, kind of video that just came out last week. It came out, in fact, during our debate, and then they pretended they pretended it was an accident or whatever it was. But how do you put the city back together after something like that?
Well, look, this is gross. The fact that Andrew Cuomo, in his last moments in public life, is going down with racism and Islamophobia is appalling. But I guess what I'm hopeful about is Donald Trump is going to come for Zohran, but he's not just coming for Zohran, he's coming for New York City. And I do hope that under his leadership, we can kind of put us all back on the field together. There's what I said last night is Jews and Muslims are not going to be divided from each other. This has been a bruising election because Andrew Cuomo and his billionaire buddies have sought to weaponize both anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Best thing to do, elect the first immigrant mayor in 100 years, the first Muslim mayor, and all go support him together.
Okay, we'll see you out there. Best of luck between now and Election Day, and we'll talk some more about whatever your decision is. Thanks very much.